Lila had always been different, her skin a canvas for dark ink, each tattoo telling a story of loss, of love, and of things forgotten. People stared, but she didn't mind. She was used to it. After all, her tattoos weren't just art, they were a gift, or a curse, depending on how you looked at it. She could take people's memories, specifically their dementia, and absorb it into her own body, leaving the afflicted with a clarity they hadn't had in years. It was a gift she'd inherited after a childhood accident left her with scars that never quite healed, each one filled with fragments of lives and minds she had touched. It started small. At first, she only helped her grandmother, whose mind was slipping like water through her fingers. Lila would touch her skin, pressing her fingertips gently onto her grandmother's temple, and within moments the fog would clear from her eyes. She would remember her childhood again, the days of laughter and sunshine. Lila never felt the loss. She absorbed it, storing the fading pieces of memory beneath her own skin. As the years passed, Lila honed her ability. She could take more than just the memories. They came with a flood of emotions, sensations, and voices. But there was always a catch. The more she took, the more she felt the weight of it all. Her own memories began to blur. She couldn't remember her own first kiss, her mother's face, or the scent of rain on the earth. But it didn't matter. The people she helped were whole again, and that made her feel complete. But as time wore on, she found herself running into something darker, something hungry. One evening, Lila found herself in the home of an elderly man named Thomas. His eyes were distant, his words slow, as if he were trapped inside a fog of confusion. She knew the routine: touch his temple, take the dementia, leave him free. Simple. But when her fingers pressed against his skin, something felt wrong. A deep, twisted knot of cold surged up her arm, and she gasped. It wasn't just dementia, it was something else. A flash of images filled her mind, Thomas's memories flooding in. Yes, but they were interwoven with something darker. A presence, something ancient and bitter. A voice whispered in her mind, mocking her.
You think you can take this? You think you can erase me?
Before she could pull away, it was too late. The presence surged inside her, overwhelming her senses. She tried to break the contact, but Thomas, as if in a trance, wouldn't let go. Lila staggered back, her skin crawling as the presence began to sink deeper into her, twisting her body from the inside out. She couldn't breathe. She couldn't think. The tattoos on her arms, her neck, her back, all began to shift, changing with the force of the memories she had taken and the darkness that now claimed her. A new tattoo appeared on her skin, a symbol she didn't recognize, a foreign mark that felt like it belonged to someone else. And then it happened. Lila's body began to freeze. Her skin became stiff, her fingers locked in place. She tried to scream, but her voice was gone. The old man's presence consumed her, taking over every part of her being. Her memories, her life, her essence, all were erased in the face of this thing. She was left with nothing but the hollow echo of someone who no longer existed. And in the last moment, as the final remnants of her consciousness faded, she realized what had happened. She hadn't taken dementia from Thomas, she had taken his soul. Now Lila was trapped, not in her own body, but in someone else's. She could feel the echoes of his mind, but they were fading. The tattoos on her body were no longer her own. They were his, symbols she couldn't understand, marks she hadn't earned. And now, as she gazed into the mirror, she could see it. Her reflection was not hers at all. It was Thomas, with the same distant, vacant eyes he'd had before she'd touched him.
No one will remember you, Lila.
The voice whispered.
You belong to me now.